You were already given your foldable in class, so go ahead and have that out. You'll need 3 color pencils as well, and it doesn't matter what color. Make sure in your composition notebook that you filled it out the title page and the table of contents. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about fractions, percents, and decimals today and converting in between each one of those. So starting with your first example, we have percents to fractions. So we're just going to kind of fill in the blanks. So I'm just going to use one of my colored pencils. So the first step when changing a percent to a fraction is to rewrite the percent over 100. So over here on this side, we're going to do the first example. So if my example is 42%, I'm going to change this into a fraction. So I'm going to take the number and we're going to put it over 100. And then my second step is to simplify it. So when we simplify, we're finding one number that can go into the top and into the bottom evenly. So the number that can go into both is going to be 2. So 2 goes into 42 21 times. 2 goes into 100 50 times. And I cannot simplify this any further, so my answer is 21 over 50. So we always put the percent over 100 and then simplify it. So we're going to go from a decimal to a percent. So the first step you're going to do is you're going to move the decimal two places to the right. And then you want to add your percent sign. So our first example, if I'm given the decimal 75.75, we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So now it's at the end of the problem, or the back of the problem, and then my second step is to add the percent sign. So anytime we want to take a decimal to percent, you always move the decimal over 2 places and add the percent sign. I'm just going to add one more example in here. So if I had 0.125, again, the decimal moves over 2 places, so it's between the 2 and the 5, and then I'm going to add my percent symbol. All right, so the next one is a fraction to a decimal, and the only step you need to do is to divide the numerator by the denominator. So remember, the numerator is on top, denominator is on the bottom, so when we divide, denominator is always on the outside and the numerator is always on the inside. So our first example is going to be 1/8. So again, my denominator has to be on the outside, numerator on the inside. So 8 can't go into 1, so I add a decimal. 8 goes into 10. I have to keep dividing. 8 goes into 20. Bring down my 0. So 8 goes into 40. And it works out evenly. So this would be your answer. So 0.125. So taking a fraction, turning it to a decimal, all you have to do is to divide. All right, going back up to the right-hand side, we're going to change the percent to a decimal. So when we do this, we're going to remove the percent symbol, and then you're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. Okay, so we're going to take 42%. We take away the percent symbol, and we move the decimal 2 places to the left. And again, if you can't see a decimal in the problem, it is always in the back or behind the number, and then we move it 2 places to the left. And again, that's where my decimal is going to be placed. So let me do one more. So if I had 150%, we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left, making sure we dropped the percent symbol. So my answer is going to be 1.5. All right, so your second one is a decimal to a fraction. And when we take a decimal to a fraction, you just say the number out loud using the place value. Write the fraction. And anytime you work with fractions, you always need to simplify. Okay, so we're going to take 0.75. And if you say the number, this is 75 hundredths. And again, your third step is to simplify it. So when we simplify, what number can go into 75 and into 100 evenly? And I'm going to use 25. So 25 goes into 75 3 times. 25 goes into 100 4 times. And I cannot simplify 3/4, so that is my answer. And if you don't know your place values very well, you can always count the numbers past the decimal. So I have 2 numbers past the decimal. I had 2 zeros. If I had 3 numbers past the decimal, I would put it over 1,000. And then again, you would simplify. So your last one is going to be fractions to percents. So your first step is to convert the fraction into a decimal by dividing. Then you want to change the decimal to a percent. So I'm going to use 1/8. And we're going to divide again, similar to what we did in the previous problem, making sure the denominator is on the outside. In that previous problem, we said it was 0.125. So we're going to take that number and turn it into a percent. And remember, it's just 2 places over to the right. So it's 12.5, and then add your percent symbol. So again, you're going to divide, move the decimal over 2 places to the right, and add your percent symbol. So once you finish with this, we're going to glue it in. But we need to put a couple of helpful hints in here. So let me get my composition notebook open. I'm going to glue mine kind of over onto the side here, and I'm going to put 2 helpful hints on the side column. So the first hint, I'm going to put up at the top. If decimal is not seen or written, in the number, it is at the end. The other hint that I'm going to put on here is down towards the bottom because it deals with fractions and decimals. And always remember, top number, or the numerator, goes inside the box or the house. So remember, the denominator is always on the outside. The top number, which is your numerator, is always on the inside. So for homework tonight, you guys are going to have 6 problems to do, or not 6, kind of a chart to do. It just goes on the left-hand side, and make sure that you complete this for homework tonight.